Hello, everybody. Welcome to Let the Lady Speak. I am SG, and on my channel, I talk about life, love, dating, and relationships. And tonight, we're going to review or discuss Ready to Love, Season 4, Episode 10, Getting Clarity. So we pick up where we leave off, where basically Alexis is going ham on Amber because she's upset that she kissed Ron and didn't tell her, which is understandably so. If we're friends and anything happened, I feel like you should let that person know if they are really truly as close as they said. Now, I have a couple alarms that went off, a couple ding dings. Number one, KG didn't know. So it's like, Amber, why didn't you tell KG what happened so that he wouldn't be blindsided? When you care about somebody and when you're dating someone, or just in relation to them, you never want them to be blindsided. You never want them to be hurt. And I felt like she should have let KG know, out of all people, that something happened and he may hear about it. But that kind of lets you know that she knew it was behind the scenes and it was off limits and that it probably wouldn't come out. But you can't really assume that. And if you talk about your relationship is about honesty and clarity and vulnerability and all these things that KG is about, you would think she would have told him what happened. The other thing is that Amber didn't tell Alexis right away. Alexis should have been the second or first person, depending on how you look at it, to know, so that she wouldn't have been blindsided, and that's somebody that she says she cares for. So if that's the case, why wouldn't Amber let them know what's happening? So as far as I'm concerned, I don't really like how Amber handled the situation. I don't like the fact that she wasn't forthcoming initially. Like, it just shouldn't have had to come out this way. And her excuse for not telling Alexis was she didn't want her decision on Ron to be based on what happened, which I kind of understand. But at the same token, like, if that's the kind of guy he is that if that's how he's moving, then I don't know why you wouldn't want to let that person know, hey, this is what happened and this is kind of how it went down. Later, Amber tells KG that she kissed Ron because she didn't want to embarrass him. When is it wrong to correct a person who's being inappropriate and doing something that you don't want? A person that's trying to kiss you and you know what's going on with them with someone else, and you're not going to say to that person, you know what, back off, or I'm not comfortable with this, or this is inappropriate. You should always guard and protect your person and your space. And I just find that a little interesting that Amber chose not to reveal those things. And for me, I think that's something that KG should be a little bit alarmed about. He seems to be okay. Like, later, he's kind of like, I'm okay with it. We talked about it. The kiss was great. But I really think he needs to dive deeper, because in some ways, Amber is laying groundwork. She keeps saying things like, we always do things, that we all make mistakes. We all have certain things happen. When people do things like that, there are a lot of times they're setting up for future fails. They know that they're going to do something else, and they're going to always remind you that we're human and we make mistakes. That's true, but some things should just never happen or should never be repeated. And I think for KG, he really needs to pay attention to the signs with Amber with that, because it seems like it's going to be something that's going to continue. And there's a huge age difference there as well. So Amber may be still trying to live a little bit more of her life than she's ready to admit to at this time. The other pro, I would say, is the fact that in that conflict, she did acknowledge what she did. She apologized. She said she was sorry. She said exactly what she was sorry for doing. She owned up to it and she took accountability. And when someone apologizes like that, I have a lot of respect for them. It's people who give you that apology if I hurt you. if I hurt you, if I bother you. No, you hurt me. You bothered me. You made me sad. You frustrated me. Whatever you did to me, acknowledge what you did to me. Because the thing about that is people who don't do it, who don't acknowledge the wrong that they did in their apology, will do it again. And so I don't trust this apology if you don't acknowledge exactly what it is that was the issue. So next up, they are picking rooms, and Joel's trying to find his Vernisha baby. So Joel's looking for Vernisha, but and I noticed that AJ said, what's her name? Alexis may get sent home, and since Alexis may get sent home, it's like he's worried that Alexis may get sent home, and he doesn't really want to do that. So he has to spend more time with her. But then he also wants to spend time with Kyra. And it's like, you got to kind of make up your mind. What exactly is it that you're doing here? Ladies, I'm here to tell you, if a man is confused, don't entertain it. I'm not even going to say try not. Don't entertain a man's confusion, because if he's just confused, he's just going to make you confused. And there's nothing healthy or beneficial about living in confusion. So next, of course, Kyra, the queen of suggestions, suggests that they go out to the hot tub in the jacuzzi area. And she comes out, honey, serving body and bathing suit. And I think it's cold because Joel's sitting there with papa sweater on, which I like his papa sweater, don't get me wrong, but everybody's up, everyone else is like wrapped up, and so she came out ready. So they get into the hot tub, I should say. AJ, Kyra, Jason, and Liz. Liz was quiet and observant. So Kyra's main goal was to get Jason's attention. She said it. Men are visual. Here's the thing. Men are visual, and you can get their attraction with vision. But when people are looking for substance, you have to offer something else. And they talk a little bit about this because Kyra poses the question to Jason. Kyra asks Jason what makes him feel at peace with the woman, which I find very interesting. But anyway, so it's a good question, but I just wonder what the origins of it was. Anyway, so, Jason talked about basically vulnerability, being open, and she kind of threw in there, or took the opportunity to say, well, I'm guarded, but this process has been helping me. He was like, yeah, you are guarded. AJ sitting over there like, yeah, you are guarded. And then she says, but I feel like I haven't been guarded with you. So I'm sitting here like, wait a minute, Kyra, what exactly are you doing? Listen, when you are dating and pursuing, it's very important that you, A, know who you are, and B, know what you're pursuing. But you have to know yourself. If you know yourself, you know what is important to you. And this theme kind of plays out throughout the whole episode, where everyone is confused. Everyone is confused about who they are, what they want, what they need, and what they're looking for, which none of them are ready to love. Maybe Liz is ready, and I think Vernisha, but I think Vernisha needs some work too. Just some healing to be done. But, I think Vernisha is more willing to do the work than some of the other people on the show. So they're talking and they're just discussing a vulnerability, but she meaning Kyra, is really fighting for Jason's attention. She's on Jason's side of the hot tub. Liz is there. Liz is not moving. She's not saying anything. She's just watching it work. And when you know who you are and you know what you bring to the table and you're comfortable in your own skin, you can do that. You're not fighting to compete. Kyra's competing with Liz. Kyra and Alexis actually do the same thing. The difference is Kyra is more laid back. Kyra is more undercover with hers, whereas Alexis just lets it all out. She just has Tourette's at the mouth when it comes to saying what she wants and who you choose. And, she asks a lot of questions. She needs a lot of reassurance. She needs a lot of conversation, whereas Kyra strategizes in her head, but she really doesn't want to lose. And you can't focus on winning a man. That man may not be the one for you. You're competing with all the other women or with another woman, and that man may not be the one for you. That man may not be a good man. He's just a man, right? So I don't see either one of them really focusing on what's important to them. I haven't heard Alexis talk about religion with AJ, but she's worried about AJ and his relationship with Kyra, and she makes mention about how they're always arguing, and there's a lot of strife when they communicate. Like, they have a difficult time communicating. But why is that your concern? Alexis, what is it that he can bring to your life? I have yet to hear her say that he makes her feel safe. He's a man of God. All these things that she clearly needs and that are clearly important to her. She doesn't address them. She addresses what Kyra is doing. Don't compete with the other woman. Evaluate whether or not that person is right for you. So next, Amber and KG meets up to talk about the kiss with Ron. And basically, as I stated earlier, she tells him what happened. He forgives her. He shows appreciation to the fact that she admitted that she was wrong. She acknowledged it. She took responsibility and accountability. But again, I say that's a red flag. And he should watch it. I'm not saying that it's a deal breaker necessarily, depending on the person, but it's definitely something to pay attention to. Then, KG was like, well, since you kissing on people, can I get my kiss? Like, where's my kiss? I want a kiss. And so they kissed, and it was a pretty nice kiss. So we'll see what's going to happen between them two. And Amber seems relieved that KG has forgiven her and he's not upset. So I don't know. KG, just keep your eyes open though. So it's the next morning, and of course, Kyra comes downstairs giving more body, and Jason's like, whoa, Queen, good morning. Jason just doesn't know what to do with himself, okay? So they all come downstairs, and they talk a little bit, but Vernisha and Joelle are back in the room, and they are talking. It turns out that they spent the night together. Joelle says nothing happened. Something could have happened, but nothing happened. But he did learn he can lay next to that baby, honey. He can lay next to her. And the thing is, I don't think he has an issue being close to her or being affectionate. I just don't know if he's ready to settle down like we thought, or like I thought he was in the very beginning. And basically she lets him know, don't do anything else. You skating on thin ice now. You on your third strike. You almost out of here. And Joelle is just talking about how he has to really settle down and make a decision. Basically, Joelle is torn between playing and being serious in a relationship, or in a relationship with her. But I don't think he's really ready to be committed. I think he's really just ready to have help with his children, and those are two different things. So we shall see. So the ladies are making breakfast, and I'm starting to see that maybe AJ does like Kyra more than I think he's just guarded about letting his guard down, but I do think he's starting to like her. And Kyra likes him, and, they're both talking about how they're letting their guards down. But AJ said something very interesting, I should say. He made the statement that he's looking for a lady who has a certain amount of assertiveness. So let's go back to what Kyra has been saying she wants this whole time. This whole time, Kyra is saying she's looking for a provider. She's looking for someone that can lead. AJ is looking for someone who has a certain amount of assertiveness. AJ wants a person to lead, right? So again, when you are dating, you have to date with attention, and you have to date paying attention to what is important to you and whether or not that person brings that to the table, and not just dating for the sake of dating. Of course, unless that's what you want to do. But on this show, they say they're looking for love and they're ready to settle down. What kind of person are you looking to settle down with? And right now, they're not really looking for the persons that they are. Like, AJ isn't looking for someone like Kyra, and Kyra isn't looking for someone like AJ, but they have this attraction apparently, and they're focused on the attraction, but neither one of them can really say what it is that they want with each other. And then the other thing is, the other thing with Kyra and AJ is that both of them are so guarded. And so it's like, well, what part of you haven't you held or dealt with that makes you so guarded? It's okay to reserve yourself. But if you're out here trying to take a chance on love, you can't have 8 million walls up and expecting for someone to get to know you and try to really, really pursue you. And you're not going to allow yourself to be pursued because you're so guarded. So I don't know. I find that interesting between the two of them. So Liz and Alexis are talking. Liz is on cloud nine. She's just like smiling about her date with Jason and her connection with Jason. Alexis asks if they kiss. Liz smiles. She doesn't really say yes or no because a lady doesn't tell, right? So here goes Alexis again. Alexis like, well, they make a good couple. I have to focus on AJ. I now have to compete with Kyra. You don't have to compete with Kyra. You don't. There is no competition. You are it. And either they see you and want you for who and what you are, or they don't. Don't compete with another woman. And here she goes competing and not focusing on, once again, the right thing. I don't think AJ is ready for the responsibility that comes with Alexis. And I don't think AJ really wants Alexis like that, and I just think she's missing the mark and focusing too much on winning and beating out the other woman and winning him over and getting what she wants. And she talks about being competitive. This is not a time that you need to compete. This is a time you need to be assessing whether or not this person is right for you. So next up, Kyra and Jason go on a tennis date. And so the confusion of it all, they're all confused. Everyone is confused. That's the outcome from this conversation. But anyway, they go on a tennis date and they talk about where they stand. And in short, Kyra is saying, I told you that you were my number one, but I feel like you've been acting funny ever since the last male deliberation, which Jason, you have, once you met the ex, actually, that kind of caused some concerns for you, and you should be honest about that. But Jason isn't being honest about that. And he did pull back and focus more on Liz, right? Not to mention the fact that everybody wanted a piece of Kyra. But he's not being honest, and that's the issue. But then Kyra is kind of like going back and forth. She's saying, yeah, I decided on you, but I still want to see what happens with AJ. Well, then you really haven't made a decision. Again, there's just a lot of confusion. There's just confusion. And so Jason's like, I'm on the battlefield. I just want to know what you want. Just say what you want to do. Say what you want. Say what you want to do. And Kyra couldn't really give him that. But honestly, I don't think he can really give Kyra that either. I think he didn't feel comfortable in pursuing her, knowing that she teeters back and forth. And maybe that's what he meant by it. That she hasn't been solid on him in totality. It's like, I told you that you would be the one that I will leave with. You're my number one. But at the same time, I'm really into AJ, and she just hasn't landed in any way or at all, but neither really has he. So they're really doing the same thing. I do think though, if Kyra told Jason, like, I really want to be with you at some point before he met the ex, he would have been all for it. But he does need to be honest about his concerns about as far as her finances and other things. It's not just her confusion that caused him to pause. It's also how she handles money, her communication, and her vulnerability. So next, Alexis Fly Jones and AJ go on a date, and AJ had a one-on-one date because AJ has been having like all group dates for the most part. Anyway, they go on a date, and AJ and Alexis are talking about just how they feel. She apologizes to him for, I guess, being upset and how she approached him. She didn't say, she just said, I just want to apologize to you. She talked about, that she had a lot on her chest when she came, and she just had to get that off. And once she got everything off her chest, she felt better because she felt heavy. And AJ and Alexis talked about how basically they balance each other out in a sense, meaning that Alexis can be on 10, but AJ kind of calms her down. And AJ kind of, well, I guess he appreciates the fact that Alexis have conversations with him and let him know exactly how it is that she's feeling. Although while she's talking, he's always telling her, like, just relax, just calm down, But he does appreciate the fact that she opens up because Kyra doesn't. So in Alexis fashion, there she goes. I just don't want you to yoke up with somebody that causes conflict, because I feel like everything is easy with us and we can talk to each other. We can balance each other out. Alexis, that's not your business. That relationship with that other person is not your business. Unless you and AJ are friends and just friends, or you've decided that, we don't want to be together. I wish you the best. And he asks for some advice. Have that conversation. But don't worry about what's going on between the two of them. Worry about you. Like, you're still not getting to the meat of him. You're still not getting into, you got to be chosen. You just want to be chosen. Let that go and really try to find out if this man is, I'm going to say it again, if he is right for you. And that is not Alexis' focus. And then he gave her a hug. And what did she do? That's all I get is a hug. So he gave her a kiss. But if you have to keep asking for affection, time, confirmation, that's a sign. It's a sign that that relationship may not be the one for you. They may not be that into you. You may not be the one for them, or they may not be the one for you. And you have to pay attention. Don't ignore the signs. Everyone's downstairs shooting pool, talking, and here comes Tommy. So Tommy pulls up on his horse doing the Tommy thing. Tommy has to make an entrance. So he makes an entrance and he comes in and, he lets everyone know it's time to talk. It's time to make a decision. First up is Jason and Tommy. So Tommy asks, what do you want to do? Jason talks about how he's been waiting for Kyra to make a decision and he doesn't know in what direction he should go. And he got the clarity from her that he needed. And he talked about Liz. Liz is open and ready to allow him to pursue her. And I think a lot of times people don't really understand that, because Tommy made a statement. He said, well, you don't need anyone to tell you how to court them, right? Or whether you should court them or how they should be courted, which is true. But if a person is open to courtship, if they're open to you, if they're interested in you, if they're okay with you pursuing them, you want to know that when you're pursuing someone. And I think Liz has been more like, yes, I'm interested in you and I want to see where this goes. Whereas Kyra has been kind of teetering. So Tommy tells him, hey, you got to make a decision. And Jason said, you know what? My father told me love doesn't come with confusion. And honey, I was like, that is the truth. A relationship that's full of conflict and confusion is not the place to be. You don't want that kind of environment for a relationship. And Jason chose Liz. I said, okay, Jason. I was surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. Although I think some foolishness is going to happen next week, but we got to wait till next week to see. But I will say I was very surprised that Jason chose Liz, and I'm happy he made a choice based on what he felt was right for him, meaning she's been consistent. She gives him peace. She communicates, and she's open to figuring out where this relationship will go, as rather than with Kyra, where it's just kind of like, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure, let's see type deal, So next up, Tommy goes and speaks with KG and Joel. So KG, he's in heaven, honey. He's like, Amber is great. She's open. She's honest. She's all these things that he names. And if you read bodies, you can tell that Tommy's like, now listen here. So he said, no drama this weekend. And KG said, yeah, well, there was some drama. And he tells the story about what happened between Alexis and Amber. And and KG was like, yeah, but it's, it's okay. And so Tommy said, so you okay with your woman kissing another man? And Tommy asked, did you know this information? And Chris was like, no, but I'm fine now. In his confessional, he talked about if it had been 18 months. No, Chris, no. It's not about 18 months. That's something that should have been said immediately, and it is alarming, but I've already talked about that, so I won't go through it again. But Tommy's looking at him like, you better pick up what I'm putting down. I'm trying to tell you something. There's some reason for concern here, but KG is in bliss and he really likes Amber and he's focused on Amber, and they're just going to let it happen how it happens. That's my takeaway from it. Now, meaning Tommy, talks to Joelle about Vernisha, and Joelle goes through and tells what happened and how they resolved, and he apologized, and Joelle said something very telling. He said, my wife died 2 years ago and I have twins and I can't just continue doing this. He can't be out here anymore. So he needs to make a decision. So they don't want anybody else. KG is choosing Amber and Joelle is choosing Vernisha. But I don't think Joelle is really, really sure. Honestly, I don't think he's sure. Not because of Vernisha, so to speak. I just don't think he's really ready to settle down as much as he's trying to portray that he is. I think KG is ready to settle down, but I think him and Amber both are ignoring some key signs or some key flags. And I don't think they're deal breakers. I think they're something you should talk about. But I definitely would keep my eye open if I was you, because the fact that she didn't come back and communicate what happened is a telltale sign. So next, Tommy goes and he meets with AJ. AJ's the last one. AJ is conflicted. He don't know what he's going to do. He doesn't know. He's clueless. Tommy's like, you need to make a decision. I'm going to make an extension for you. And so meaning AJ, decides, well, he needs to just talk to Kyra. He's going to talk to her and figure it out. Okay. Tommy said, I'm going to give you a little time. So AJ goes and meets with Kyra later. They come and they have a little discussion by the fire and they're holding hands and they're talking. And the conversation with AJ and the conversation with Jason was pretty much the same. She's just really not sure. And he said, that's really what we needed from you. I'm having this conversation because I need to know that you're sure. And Kyra says, she just needs to wait it out. She just needs to see. And AJ says, I wanted to have this conversation to determine whether or not you were ready. And we don't think you're ready to love. But he wouldn't let her hand go. And you could tell it hurt him to say it. And it hurt her to be rejected in a sense. And he wouldn't let her hand go. And she said, can I have my hand back? And he was like, I'm not ready. And then y'all, they show previews for next week, and it's like, so she's still going to be there and they're still going to be going back and forth. And I think he's going to send Alexis home because Alexis is all wrapped up in just being chosen. Alexis, I just want you to go take care of yourself. Go do some therapy, do some self-healing, do some self-worth, so you understand who you are. Ladies and gentlemen, when you are dating, you have to know who you are, and what you bring to the table. Be confident and know what you deserve, and that way you will not accept any less. There is nothing wrong with having standards. There's nothing wrong with wanting the best for yourself. It's something different when people talk about, oh, he has to be 6'3". You can have a great guy who's 6 foot. You don't turn a guy away because he's 6'3". But the core values, what's important, what means to a lot to you, like those things need to be lock loaded and solid, and that's what you need to pursue. Like date with the intention, or date what matches you and what helps you and what will improve you, help you reach your goal in this relationship thing. Don't just go dating, grabbing, and holding on to everyone. They talked about, being chosen. Listen, a pimp can choose you. That doesn't mean you want to be his bottom. You know what I mean? So, no, don't do that. So don't get caught up in other people and competition in games. Be you, be the best version of yourself. Work on yourself, heal yourself, and the partner that's right for you will come along, because they will see that best in you. They will see that beauty of you. They will see the heart and soul of you, and they will want that, and they're going to pursue it, and there won't be any questions, and there won't be any confusion. Okay, I want to thank you guys for stopping by. Please make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you to all the people who subscribe. That's new. I appreciate you. Also, I appreciate all the views that you guys have given me, and some people have commented. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. So please, again, like, share, and subscribe. Check out my podcast. I left the link in the description box below. I wish you the very best. Have a beautiful week. Take care. Thank you for letting me speak. Have a good night. Bye-bye.